Contract affair of getting paid until the day I die. Money coming in, but not one at bat, not one pitch, and not one strike. Being deferred is where it's at. Deferred.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Podcast Name Deferred. I am your host, Seven. What? There we go. I'm sorry. I was having an issue. I want to give a special shout out to our listeners on Spotify and the other podcast platforms. If you miss any part of tonight's show, prefer to listen more than watch, or want to get your friends to check us out, all episodes are available next day on Spotify and other podcast platforms. Podcast Name Deferred is a part of the Wire to Wire Sports Network, so please make sure to give Wire to Wire a follow and subscribe after you get done following us on Facebook. We have a great show tonight discussing the first half of the season, predictions for the next half, the first round of All-Star balloting, and actually the second round ends today as well. The MLBPA wants to ban player prop bets, and we are going to be starting with the brawl in Boston yesterday. But first, let me bring in my amazing co-hosts. It looks like Craig may be running a little bit behind, but I do have my other co-host. I'm not going to make too many jokes about him tonight because his weekend was filled with watching his Yankees get swept by the Red Sox, and they really haven't done much better since. I'll only say I talked a little bit of trash during the whole ordeal, mainly because I didn't want to jinx it. But we have Dan Warner with us tonight.
I can't hear you, bud.
Can you hear me? Can't hear me? Now I'm wondering, okay, so it's showing me the signal.
Can't hear anything.
That's not good.
I have no idea what's going on. I'll back out.
All right, so Dan is running a little bit behind. Craig is going to be here in just a second. I want to thank you for joining us, so we appreciate. Sorry about the technical issues as we get started tonight. I'm going to go ahead and to start on this, and when Craig and Dan are able, they'll chime in. Last night, something happened in the Red Sox Nats game that we need to discuss. This wasn't part of the original plan, but sometimes things happen and your lead-in changes. During yesterday's Red Sox Nationals game at Fenway Park in the fourth inning, Nationals pitcher Aaron Savali. There's Dan.
Now I can hear you. That was weird.
Here we go. There we go. And now,
and Craig,
your mic is muted, buddy.
Yeah, that was weird. We're good.
He's gotta love Craig. Good to see you. There we go.
There it is.
There we go.
Gentlemen, apologies.
He is a former features writer for Baseball Card Magazine and the Sports Collectors Digest, among others, covering MLB and the minor leagues. And if I might add, he is a fabulous storyteller. My other co-host, Craig, Sexy
Good evening,
is with us. We appreciate you guys joining us. All right, so you know what? We're gonna dive in. Something happened last night in the Red Sox Nats game that we need to discuss. This wasn't the original plan, but sometimes things happen and your lead-in changes. During yesterday's Red Sox Nationals game at Fenway Park in the fourth inning, Nationals pitcher Aaron Savali struck out Red Sox first baseman Wilson Contreras. Following the final strike, Savali can be heard screaming, "Sit down, boy," to Contreras, and then doubling down when Contreras stopped and asked him what he said. Contreras obviously took exception to this, and the bench is cleared as Contreras tried to go after Savali. The brief dust-up ended with Contreras Boston skipper Chad Tracy, Red Sox outfielder Nate Eaton, and Nationals pitcher Miles Mikolas being ejected. Mikolas was apparently still butthurt about a bat flip from Monday's game following a first inning home run from Contreras. We're each going to sound off on this one, but as a Sox fan, normally I don't take the lead in on my own show. I let these guys kick it off, but this one I'm going to run with it. There is zero excuse for this. In the off chance that Savali actually had no idea that this would be taken as a racist statement, like he said in an interview today, his parents owe us an apology for not properly teaching him things. Like, also, there are, if I remember correctly, I was looking, 14 players on that 26-man roster in DC that are not white. 11 of them are Latino. Any of us Caucasians that spend any time working around others of a different race learn real quick what kinds of things have a connotation to him. Ultimately, he has zero excuse. And to the spineless individual, it's really hard not to swear. To the spineless individual, Robert Manfred, who has yet to punish Savali, who I might add wasn't ejected for what happened in the game. Great job, umps, for dropping that ball. You need to step down for a real leader. Baseball would be better off without you. Yes, Contreras threw his helmet at Savali. Yes, Contreras tried really hard to beat the brakes off of Savali. Savali should feel lucky that his teammates didn't let Contreras get through. Contreras got ejected for something soft in game 1 of the series, then again for this yesterday. He's watching friends and family suffer from the terrible earthquake in Venezuela. He's suffering enough. Savali needs to truly learn there is no room for that behavior or that kind of ignorance in baseball at any level. Now, Craig, I'll let you have this one next. Remember, we're trying to behave and not swear anymore because we love Joyce. What do you think of this situation?
I am grateful as a baseball fan that this is a starting pitcher, not a relief pitcher. He will face the Red Sox again next season. And if I am that Red Sox pitcher, I don't know who that lucky person is, but the very first pitch, no warning, is going in his ear hole. A fastball. And that's called on the field, taking care of business, justice. And it's going to happen. There's no excuse. You said briefly, there's no excuse for what he said. He knew exactly what he was doing. That is a clarion call for racism with the history behind that name. He completed ignorance all he wants. Like I said, shame on his parents for not teaching him right. The bottom line is this pitcher will face justice. It will be on the field. It'll be quick. It will be painful. And then it'll be over.
Dan, what about you, buddy?
I think that Aaron Savali probably needs to get his racial slurs correct, because I don't think that's even correct on the. Isn't William Contreras like Dominican or something? What are we even doing?
He's Venezuelan. He's from Venezuela.
It's the wrong. It's not even black, but that's a whole nother thing that I'm sure Aaron Savali doesn't even understand. So we're not going to go with that. But yeah, the whole thing is what it is. Yeah, that's really all I had to say about it. You guys explained it perfectly.
And my thing is, he came out today in the interview with this whole, the people that know me know my character, know that that's not the type of person I am. That is the weakest defense you can imagine. Danny Masterson said the same thing. Bill Cosby said the same thing.
Danny Masterson was
Jared
Danny Masterson
Fogle
was ultimately
said the same thing. Like the thing for me that frustrates me is you can't have that statement. If you're truly going to be repentant, you know what? Honestly, I didn't understand what I did, but all I can do is be better and move forward. The people that know me know my character is the weakest thing, because every bad guy has people around them that think that they're amazing. The BTK killer was a scoutmaster here in Wichita, Kansas, where I live. When he was arrested, there were scores of people that knew him. They were like, oh, no, he's not that type of guy. It couldn't be him.
Yeah. Had no idea. Had
the
no
people around him knew his character. It's a weak thing to say when you're
Tony-
trying to face these things.
Did you just
Go
compare
ahead.
calling a Dominican man boy to the BTK killer?
Yes,
I'm just kidding. Two different probably things.
I obviously the severity of
but
each
yeah.
is up for debate, but I mean the sentiment is the same. Like you can't that's not a defense when you're trying to defend yourself from something like that, and that's.
Do you think Aaron Savali was even trying to do? Do you think Aaron Savali was even trying to say that though? Was he really confused? And did he think Willson Contreras was black? And was he trying to call him boy? That's the actual for real. Like is that the actual like thing that he was trying? I don't know if he was trying to do that. I think he was doing it. I think he was trying to like talk down to him, like boy, talk down to him. I don't know if it was a whole racial thing. I don't.
And you are probably right. Did he intend racism behind it? No. But I think there's a difference between intention and execution. And like, if I say, if I'm at karaoke and I'm doing, and I'm doing a rap song, and NWA, I'm doing F the Police. Okay.
Yeah.
Edward flies in that song.
Okay.
Just everywhere. I'm just spitting it. I didn't intend to say anything racist.
Yeah.
I wasn't meaning a racial term, but it doesn't change the fact that I shouldn't say it. Like, and that's the thing is it's not, and especially when you look at.
Do you do the N-bombs and F the Police?
Oh God, no, I can't fight. I'm not that stupid.
You don't? Okay.
But and that's the thing for me is you can't, you've got to be smarter than that because it's not what you say matters. Because like he was saying in the interview today that he felt bad because there were little kids in DC that look up to him, that saw that he said that we're going to see him in a different light. It doesn't matter that he didn't mean it that way. And he can't, and the I didn't know that that's how it would be taken excuse is unacceptable to me. I can make a bunch of dark humor jokes.
There's probably not that many kids that look up there.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's it's the Nats. If there's a player that gets looked up to on the Nationals, it's James Wood. You call James Wood Wood boy. You're not going to be standing after because that's actually one of the I believe two black guys on that team.
That's different.
But again, intent in intent matters. We've talked about that a lot, but so does it, what you say. And that's why I'm not saying calling for his head. He needs to get suspended. And he's gonna have to deal with the smoke from it, but he'll learn. All right. So let's get into the actual part of the show that I had properly planned and everything like that. We're going to start. Let's start with this. And Craig, I'm going to let you take off on this, but we're all going to speak on it. We are through the first half of the 2026 season. I want to know your biggest surprise and your biggest I told you so from the first 81 games.
I think we touched on this team a couple weeks ago. My biggest surprise so far is still the Cincinnati Reds. They are really emerging as a legitimate contender. I mean, they're deep, and they're the most complete team right now, other than, like, say, aside from the Dodgers, the Braves. The Braves are healthy, so they are not so much a surprise as they're continuing on to live up to their expectation. Jose Soriano, the pitcher, was a big surprise to me with his record, and the strength of the National League Central is really surprising. Those are my surprises so far.
And what's your biggest I told you so?
Okay, I told you so. I don't know about that. The Yankees are going to be first in the AL East, but that's neither here nor there. No, this my surprise would. I'm not going to take your White Sox, Tony. I kind of want to take your White Sox. No, but that the White Sox would be mine. But the biggest surprise is I'm just going to go Yankees here because I watch a lot of Yankees. Our pitching carrying the team, obviously, without Aaron. Obviously, the last couple of weeks haven't been great, But no Aaron Judge. I thought we were going to go way downhill. And Paul Goldschmidt has been the biggest surprise to me, honestly. Paul Goldschmidt has been the biggest positive surprise to me because he's been picking it up. We got him for insurance for Giancarlo, and obviously Giancarlo's not going to play in the middle of the year, like usual. But we got him for that, and he's dude. I mean, the guy should make an all-star team, to tell you the truth. So Goldie being 38-year-old Goldie, I mean, the guy's still hitting like he's 32 in Arizona. Like he's great. He's great against left-handed pitching. So Paul Goldschmidt, props. Not an I told you so. I had never seen that one coming. I thought he was going to be just our backup first baseman, but yeah.
I agree. Goldie has definitely been a shocking piece. Really quick, Brandon, host of the Sports Nuts podcast. Usually with him every other Tuesday. I'm actually gonna be with him Friday this week. We're gonna be doing a quick thing. Shout out to him. Great dude. How many games would you both suspend him for? They're gonna see at least a game apiece, I would think. All right. So for me, kind of like Dan alluded to, my biggest shock is the Chicago White Sox. We all had them as an underperformer, and they're staying in control in the AL Central, despite Cleveland having the bang out year we expected. Biggest I told you so has to sit in that same division. Detroit was a popular pick for the AL Central to start the year. A lot of people wrote off the entire rest of that division in favor of the Tigers, and they're flirting with not just the division basement, but an AL basement that already is pretty well dug, considering only 4 or 5 of the teams in the AL are at or above 500. I think it's actually 6. Every other team has a losing record. I said Detroit wasn't going to do well, and I was right. As we move on, we've seen a few MLB managers fight already, with Alex Cora, Rob Thompson of the Phillies, and now Carlos Mendoza of the Mets being let go. As discussed already, we have a few teams that are underperforming. Are there any other managers that you guys see on the hot seat? For me, I've got to look at Torey Lovello of the D-backs. This is his 10th season, and aside from the Cinderella World Series trip, it was at 21 or 22. It was a few years ago. Arizona's been more down than up. I know some of that is more options related, and their front office is terrible, but this is a results-driven league, and he hasn't gotten them. Arizona is underperforming again this season. I know that they're in a tough division in baseball, but they should have a wild card slot unlocked with how bad San Francisco is doing. But they're probably finishing the year on the outside looking in. And when you combine that with the options that will be available to hire, like David Ross, who will probably have a few clubs to choose from, the aforementioned Alex Cora and Rob Thompson are both going to be on the market. Carlos Mendoza might get a banana ball job. I don't know. But this is going to be the perfect recipe. When you add in, especially that Mattingly is going to be a head coach somewhere next year, if Philly is dumb enough to let him walk. I think Torey Lovello is on the hot seat here. Craig, I'll let you have this
Aaron
one
Boone
again.
if he keeps losing the Yankees.
We say Aaron Boone every year, and it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it the year so that maybe it happens. Craig, what do you what do you got? Who do you have in the hot seat?
Well, I like to call them America's favorite redheaded stepchild, the Houston Astros. Joe Espada. I give him a grade of 1 trash can up. The team has been inconsistent all season. Espada entering the season was already under the microscope even before our first pitch was thrown in anger for the season, and the pressure hasn't changed. And then on the one for the coming from behind, the Toronto Blue Jays, John Schneider. But with him, I give a little grace because they're playing the most competitive East, and it's been hard for them to separate themselves, from the pack. But I definitely think that the Houston Astros manager, Mr. Espada, could definitely be on the hot seat. Also, my Giants. I mean, it's his first season, but I think Buster Posey's got a lot of patience. And this team is it's not good. The Giants are not good. And so I think Posey recognizes that, and it's not so much the manager's fault. It's the quality of the players on the field. So, but that's my 2 cents on that one.
Dan, what about you outside of Aaron Boone?
I was gonna say, Aaron. This actually might be Aaron Boone's year. I don't know. He's got losing to the Red Sox. Don Mattingly might become available. That's the interesting part of that whole thing. Don Mattingly and back in New York would be a thing that they would do. You would think. Other than that, Joe Espada from the Astros is a good choice, Craig. Because they got Yordan Alvarez hitting well and everything too, and they're still losing games. You know what I'm saying? They're still not at the top of that division. That's disappointing. And it seems like they had the talent back too with Correa and all those. But is Carlos Correa anything that he used to be? Obviously not what he used to be. They won the titles, but I'd say Joe Espada too. But Aaron Boone, man, this might be the year. This could be it, Tony.
If they continue to
He's
crumble
got so
like
much
they
swag
have the last couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised. But
it'll get hotter.
Yeah,
right now they're still.
It has to, but yeah, they're only a couple of games away from the Rays right now. So I don't think it's. I think
they are behind now.
I think the seat warmer's starting to turn on, but I don't think it's hot yet.
No.
That's where we're at. Okay. I want to make sure I found the right spot. All right. So we are going to talk about the first and second round of All-Star balloting because it's always a hot topic. First, though, I want to discuss a new proposal by the MLBPA as part of CBA negotiations that have been back and forth ongoing. We know there's going to be a lockout. It's just a matter of how long at this point. The players have said in a recent proposal that they want to ban all player prop bets in online sports betting, citing concerns of player safety and harassment by unhappy bettors. Now, Dan, I know that you are a big fan of sports betting. So I'm going to let you have the first say here. Do you agree with the players wanting to do this? And do you think the owners will agree to it? And feel free to explain.
I think that they will agree to do it. They will agree to do it probably. If it doesn't take money out of their own pockets, you know what I'm saying? But for player safety and stuff like that, I don't know about all that. Like how many dudes are, I get it, but like who's blaming? I mean, if you're obviously dumb enough to blame the players for you making a bet about something, right? I guess that concern is possibly viable. I don't see it, but yeah, I think it'll probably get done. I mean, did you say that there's definitely going to be a lockout?
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's going to happen.
Okay. Next season?
Yeah, I do not think we will have 162 games next year if we have a season at all.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. In that case, can we just get a season? I don't really care what the deal is. We can just get a season in. That'd be great.
Craig,
I will
what
go
about
into a deep depression
without the players. We heard the owners to the players. Thank you for your concern. No. We like the money. We like the interest that it brings to the game. So I don't see the owners giving up on this one. I wish they would, because I agree with you that there is a danger for players that could be targeted by a fan or a gambler that his winnings didn't come because of a play took place on the field. The player didn't feel whatever, and the gambler loses the money. There's a danger to that, but the owners love the money. They love the interest that it brings to the game. So this might be one where if they can come to an agreement, that'd be great. But the owners, I don't know. I think you're giving them more credit, Tony, than I can right now, and especially with the pending lockout coming. I mean, I don't see them having to be that magnanimous towards the players' union.
I get what you're saying. There's definitely a money issue here. But for me and our friend author Ronald T. Waldo, who usually comes on the show about once a year. He tells stories in a lot of his books from the dead ball era about mob gambling, on sports, and had disastrous effect it had on baseball, and not just when we talk about the Black Sox series. I'm not against sports betting, but too many people risk money they can't lose and blame players instead of their own stupidity. So we have to consider reality. And I think the other big thing here, also, players fixing their own prop bets isn't a risk or a problem if they can't make the bet so easily. Will stupid people still do stupid things sometimes? Absolutely. But we won't have as much of a problem with it if it's harder to find. I'm perfectly fine with team prop bets, like how many hits is the team going to get, how many home runs, how many grounded to double plays, whatever, but not player specific. Or at the very least, devalue them by removing the opportunity for them to be in parlays. I do agree, though, with the players that something has to change. And because it's only a matter of time before things escalate to a catastrophic level because of something somebody stupid does. Like you have every year Mattress Mac in Houston bets millions of dollars, but he also runs a very successful business and can afford it. He insures things that he does. He's not stupid. He's rich enough to get away with that. But when dad bets child's college fund, thinking it's going to grow exponentially on Aaron Judge not striking out at all in an entire game, and then Judge steps up to the plate in his first at bat and goes down looking.
Got to take a hit, don't you?
Eventually somebody's gonna do something stupid. And we see fans do stupid stuff all the time regarding stuff that players do, harassing him over, not being able to make a very difficult play that the average person could make anyway. Like it happens even when there's money not on the table. So when you put that kind of a thing in front of it, something's bound to happen. And so I definitely agree that something has to change. Now,
good luck trying to fight Aaron Judge after he strikes out, by the way.
I mean, right. No, don't do
right. You better be stabbing or shooting that
guy. you better be starting from like 20, 30 feet away and hitting hard because he gets to you. You're not getting anywhere very far. But I mean, that's the thing.
He'll literally just rip you in half.
I mean, imagine if somebody tried to attack Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve is so small he could fall through a sewer grate. So I mean, there's legitimate safety issues here with some of these guys. Lots of short kings in baseball, by the way. That's our sport. That's where we get to shine because height doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter. All right, moving forward. All-Star voting for the second round closes today, but looking at the results from the first round and everything that's been made public, of course, there's already discussions on Snubs and Glazes, and I know that I have my opinions. And Craig, I'm going to go back to you first here. Who got snubbed in the first round and who got glazed? Who should not have gotten the votes that they did?
Snub, our man, Pete Crow Armstrong. Just it's too bad. I mean, he's an exciting player. He got snubbed. Glazed, from our neighbors over from Canada. Thank you to their Canadian fans. Ernie Clement. How the heck he got all those votes from Canada is amazing. And then speaking of anyone getting glazed, Mike Trout. I mean, I love the guy, future Hall of Famer, but he's not producing. You know, here comes the popularity vote again. Here comes, basking in past glory. The fans vote for Trout because he was a great player, had great seasons, very exciting. But his performance on the field this year does not match all-star, quality. So those are mine.
That's no, I definitely see what you're saying. PCA, especially you look at the vote getters for the National League for the outfielder. Our top 6 vote getters right now: Brandon Marsh of the Phillies, Juan Soto of the Mets, Michael Harris Jr. of the Braves, Andy Pajas of the Dodgers, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves, and Teoscar Hernandez of the Dodgers. PCA is definitely getting left out a little bit there. I can agree with that one. Dan, what about you, man? Who got snubbed? Who got glazed?
Sure. I'd say on the Glaze side, there's no let's go ahead and definitely thank our Canadian friends. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Again. Yeah, Vlad Guerrero Jr. What are we doing? We give this guy a gold glove when Anthony Rizzo definitely should have won one, 4 years ago, because he has to die for every ball because he's fat. And then this year he gets he's having a terrible year. And he's I think he's number one. And you got Ben Rice who's having a MVP season in New York, or his numbers are ridiculous. And he's like 400,000 votes behind him. So that'd be my Glaze for sure. And then snubbed has definitely got to be PCA. That definitely has to be. You have Teoscar Hernandez in front of Pete Crow Armstrong right now. Doesn't Teoscar Hernandez hit 7 in that Dodgers lineup or something like that? He's not leading a team right now. I don't know. It's weird. Michael Harris Jr. I haven't looked at his numbers, but I'm sure they're good, but they're probably not PCA good. So yeah, I think there's several, but PCA for sure. That's the biggest one.
I agree with PCA on the snub. I don't think there's really an objection. I'm going to add as a part 2 to the snub that, and there's going to be some people that say I'm being somewhat of a homer here, but I'm actually normally a Connor Wong hater because I'm not always that impressed by how he is behind the plate. Connor Wong has done exactly what he was supposed to do this year. He's actually hitting 280. Yeah, he only has one home run, but he's always been a contact hitter. He's been fantastic behind the plate, including multiple games going no hit into late innings. And Alejandro Kirk, every time he gets down into the catcher squat, I worry they're going to have to help him up.
Hey,
Alejandro Kirk can be a great hitter when he wants to be, and I will not dispute that. And when you look at, I think the top vote getter for catcher for the American League was Shea Langoliers of the A's, who is another one that I'm kind of okay, I can tolerate it.
There was a movie called The Langoliers. Remember that?
You what?
Do you remember that movie, The Langoliers? That movie?
Oh yes.
It was Stephen King about an airplane. The movie scared the bejesus out of me as a kid. I don't know why. That's what I think every time that Shea Langoliers' names comes up. I think it's a Stephen King book. Movie. For some reason, I don't know why. Go ahead. Yeah, I can't take him seriously. I don't know.
No, I get it, but either Wong or Carlos Narvaez. Both Wong and Narvaez are both better catchers than Alejandro Kirk every day of the week. And this is and to our friends up in Canada, I appreciate your passion for supporting your players. I will not knock that off, especially with the fact that you guys get one team because MLB won't give you the Expos back, which I disagree with. I think Canada should have a second team. However,
Montreal Expos, awesome. I love that
there's
logo.
a lot of history with that organization. There's
sure.
so much history. But for me, there is not a situation where I'm taking Alejandro Kirk over multiple catchers in the American League. As far as who got glazed, it's definitely Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's hitting 267 with 4 home runs. He's
having a garbage.
he has more hot dogs saved from being tossed than he has defensive runs saved this year.
Dude, I was gonna say, what do they think was gonna happen? They gave him $500 million. He was already not the hardest of workers, guys. And then they gave him $500 million. It's like, what do you think he's gonna do, man? Like, he's at his house, like, yeah, he's eating that Toronto food, having a great old time, not concentrating on hitting, that's for sure. Like, who knew that was gonna happen though?
I agree. I understand that some players get a boost for the history that they have in the game. Like Yordan Alvarez hasn't really been a great DH up until recently. But he got the National League designated hitter. He got 68% of the vote for DH in the National League. When we look over on the National League side, Mookie Betts had 44% of the. Well, yeah, for the American League, and then on the National League side, Mookie Betts got 44% of the second baseman votes. As a Mookie Betts fan, Mookie Betts was the first actual player Red Sox jersey I bought. Dan can attest to this fact. Mookie's playing like garbage this year. If he's hitting above the Mendoza line right now, it's only been within the last few weeks that he's been able to achieve it. He's had a lot of errors.
Mookie Betts type play. Yeah.
No. And that's the kind of stuff that frustrates me is as much as I love what we see as the fan perspective for All-Star, and the All-Star is for the fans. I get that 100%. But there has to be a limit at some point in regards to the options. Like Nick Kurtz was another guy that should have been considered for first base over Vlad Guerrero Jr. Like if you have Ben Rice and Nick Kurtz as your options for first base for the American League,
you're pretty good about it.
In the All-Star, like honestly, like you can discuss one or the other as far as who should be first, who should be the starter, and who comes in for the second. The back half. I can discuss that all day long. That is a great discussion. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. should not be in that discussion. He just shouldn't. He's lucky he's the best first baseman on his team. And I honestly, defensively, I don't think he is.
Right.
So,
well, no.
That's
a DH.
This is the downside of All-Star stuff. Just like players that get elected to the Pro Bowl by the fans that shouldn't even be in uniform. Or the thing about the Pro Bowl though, kind of too, Tony, is like we don't really even like watching the Pro Bowl. We don't play the Pro Bowl anymore. Like in the MLB All-Star game, they still play that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still like something that we want to watch, and something we want to watch the players who have had the best season. But we want to watch the players who have had the best season in the game because the game's actually good. Like the Pro Bowl is like, who cares who makes the Pro Bowl? Like other than for their resume, but the actual game is good at Major League Baseball. Like the All-Star game is good. So it's like, it's good baseball. You get to see certain guys together you wouldn't normally. And that's I do enjoy that piece. So like for that I definitely like. Now before we work towards the close, this last major thing here is probably going to take us some time because I'm definitely going to open this up for debate. We've talked managers in the hot seat, but now I want to talk the rise and fall of baseball civilizations. I want you each to give me a team you think will be in the postseason that would not currently be in if everything ended today. And then I want a team that you think will rise. And I want a team that you think will crumble. And is not going to be, and it is going to be like we talked about in Arizona earlier, on the outside looking in come October. Feel free to explain your answers and be prepared to debate because I want a little discussion on this. Like we've got some time. We're a little ahead of schedule right now, so we can take some time on this if we want. And this is another one. I'm going to go ahead and see this topic off though. So one team that I think is going to climb. I'm going to be a homer here and I'm going to argue Boston. Up until yesterday and today, Boston had 12 consecutive quality starts from the pitchers. The hitting is starting to find their groove. They've increased their home runs each month this year. They do still need some offensive help. This season, Boston players like hitting at the DH position has hit for 225. In fact, only 3 of the actual on the field positions for the Red Sox lineup are hitting north of 250. Keep in mind that Boston still, despite all the issues, has after yesterday, today, maybe not. But as of when I wrote this, Boston still has a positive run differential, despite the offensive struggles. I think Breslow acts more aggressive with his job on the line, and Boston buys hitting at the deadline. They have a surplus of pitching right now, so I think it's possible. And Boston squeaks in as the 7th wild card. As far as a team that will fall, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's Cardinals. Oliver Marmol has really brought the Cards forward this year as manager. I think he's done great, not just on the field, but in the stands with the fans. The fans are behind him, and I think that's amazing. But I also think that their young core needs time to develop, and they're going to need time to be active in free agency in the offseason to really get in the line to actually make a run next season, especially with how hot the Central is this year. Like, it's just insane. So I think that they missed the postseason by just a game or two. They're immediately going to move into reload mode. And we're going to see definitely a team that is going to push the Cubs for the Central next year considerably. So before we move on to your guys' thoughts, Craig, Dan, any debate here?
No. Use common sense, Tony. Darn it.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, the Red Sox, I don't know, just because they're the division that they're in, how deep the division that they're in is. Like the Red Sox would be great in the AL Central. They probably win the AL Central, right? But like the AL East, a little different animal. Like, you got to just be kind of ridiculously good to be. And the Rays, somebody needs to get with the Rays like management and just figure out what they do all the time, because they have one of the lowest payrolls and they just continue to just bug the AL East all the time and just always be there. So they do a good job scouting and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't think the Red Sox are going to make a climb through the AL East just because there's too many teams to go through. But like, I think they'll play better. I think they'll definitely be in the hunt for a wild card for sure. I think that you're on something with that. Yeah, and I hope that's the only thing I got.
And yeah, I don't think they're going to take the division. And that's the thing is we have the Rays on track for a 100-win season, basically a payroll paying $1 million per win, because somehow they have it's like 110, 115, something like that for their payroll for this year. And they're just plowing through everybody. Junior Caminero is going to be in the home run derby again this year. He's the top vote getter for third base for the American League for the All-Star game. The Rays are doing fantastic. And honestly, I think that unless the Yankees do something huge, like if the Yankees trade for Mike Trout at the deadline, the Yankees are going to win the division. But outside of something catastrophic like that, which I honestly, again, I don't think that's going to happen. But outside of something catastrophic like that, the Rays win the division. So you have to look at the wild card. I think there's only 7 games between the top wild card slot, or between the last wild card slot and the basement of the American League. Every team is technically still in it right now in the American League. Now, obviously, there's some that just flat aren't, even though record-wise they say they could, just because of the fact that we only have a handful of teams that even have a winning record in the American League. But I think that Boston squeaks in. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be more struggles. I still hope every day that I wake up to a notification that Craig Breslow got fired. Like every day, like when I go to bed, I pray for peace. I pray for Anna Kendrick to send me a message. And I pray for Craig Breslow to either get fired or at least stop looking like Joel Osteen slowly turning into Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. Like, just one of those two things. Give me something. Unfortunately, neither has come true. But Boston, I think, is a team. Those guys, the one thing that I like about Boston is the culture with the players. Those guys have each other back through thick and thin. They're right there with each other. They're supporting each other even through the struggles. And like when the earthquake happened in Venezuela, it wasn't just the Venezuelan players saying, hey, we need to raise funds. The Red Sox immediately threw money towards relief efforts. Venezuelan players past and present were walking around Fenway collecting donations before the game. David Ortiz did a big thing. Like the culture there is just one of those of support. And I think that all of us have played sports and have been around sports enough to know the culture on a team matters. And so I think that that's going to be something that helps propel them. I think that Chad Tracy is done better than I think some people give him credit for. I don't think he's the option. I don't think he's the answer for Skipper moving forward, but I think that he has done a great job of trying to hold the maelstrom together, if you will. And I feel like there is a lot of potential there. Would I be surprised if they miss? No, because I say a lot of swear words every day when it comes to looking at what's going on with my team, just like Craig does, just like Dan has for the last few weeks. It's like, seriously, what are they doing? But at the same time, there's stuff there. I think like today, Boston made a trade for Brett Harris from the A's. He's not going to be an impact player every day. I think his first purpose is an insurance if Wilson Contreras gets suspended. His second purpose is probably going to be more of a player coach in the lower level, but he gets a spot on the 40-man roster, so he's still getting a regular good paycheck. And last year, across 84 games, he hit like 280. Or no, I'm sorry, like 34, 35 games is what it was. He hit like 280. That's not bad.
Could be
that's yeah. So could be good bat off the bench. There's some potential there if he's sitting up, especially September call-ups. They bring him up and let him see what he can do in Fenway. There's some pieces there. So I think it could happen.
So at night, Tony, you pray for peace on earth, a message from Anna Kendrick, and Craig Breslow getting fired. That's it, okay?
Every day.
I'll give you the most likely of those to happen is Craig Breslow getting fired. So you can always look at that as that's definitely the most likely by a freaking long shot.
And I think peace on earth is actually the second most likely. I think both of those will happen before I hear from Anna Kendrick.
Yes.
But I'm still going to hold out hope.
Hey, if you're not up in her Instagram messages, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta just bother her until just bug her until she at least responds, or her assistant responds. You know what I'm saying? That'll count. The assistant responding will count.
Okay. All right, so Dan,
person.
I'm gonna let you take this one next. Who do you have rising? Who do you have crumbling?
I think I already answered this, Tony. I believe. But no, I had and I don't think I answered crumbling because I said hopefully it's not the Yankees that crumbles. But we got a long time here without Judge. It looks like still. I don't know. It's really weird. So it could be the Yankees, but I don't think it's going to be. I like your Cardinals assessment. Craig, the Giants really can't crumble any further than they already have. So there's that. He's like, well, I'd like the Giants to crumble, but there's nothing for them to crumble into. It's just they're already rubble. So, yeah. But, no, I think, you know what? I think that I'll go out on a limb here and say the Kansas City Royals. I'll say the Kansas City Royals are going to make a run at the AL Central. And I think that or at least a wild card. I think they'll start playing better. Bobby Witt's playing off the chain. I mean, their pitching is not great. They're missing a couple of guys. I know that. But I'll go just as a guess because I like the Royals and I like Bobby Witt and I hope that they don't waste his prime in Kansas City. But so I'd like them to make a little run at it. And I'm just sick of the Cleveland Guardians to take. Who's Jose Ramirez? Who is this guy with his little dreads hitting doubles? Who's he think he is? Switch hitter.
Probably what's crazy. He's probably one of the most likable guys in baseball. But
right. No,
like if you saw him on the street, you would not think of him as a professional athlete.
No.
And
no.
That Guardians team is so weird.
It is weird.
I had a feeling it'd be better this year.
Stephen Kwan.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Stephen Kwan. I don't like you. Hunter Gaddis with your beard. Get out of here. I don't like you. Travis Bazzana. Ooh, cool. Travis Bazzana, cool. Get out of here. I don't like any of you, including your manager. Your manager looks like he just looks like he always has resting dick face. He does. And you're not fun to watch. That's really, hey, I could get by with all of it, Cleveland, if you weren't such a bore. If you weren't such a horrible bore. You're just boring to watch. Jose Ramirez is a stud. Don't get me wrong. He is a stud. But yeah, get out of here, Cleveland. Come on, Royals. Knock him out of there so I don't have to see Travis Bazzana.
Royals pitching has been a little inconsistent for me. I would like to see the Royals make a push. I like, obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. I would like Salvi to have one more shot at a ring before he retires. Another catcher in the American League that deserves a shot over Alejandro Kirk in an All-Star game. Just me personally.
Yeah.
But
Alejandro Kirk's actually kind of
like he's.
I'll give you the Vlad Guerrero thing is glazing. Alejandro's Alejandro. He's a good catcher.
He's a top 10 catcher. I will give him that he is a top 10 catcher in baseball, but I will not give him top 4 in the American League.
Can we also switch Cal Raleigh's nickname to his, because that should be his nickname? Big Dumper should be Alejandro's nickname. Like, we're not. Yeah, that was not properly.
I can't argue with that,
bro.
I can't argue with that.
He looks like he wears a hula hoop underneath his uniform. But dude will just be out there banging doubles though. It's like and then running, and then he's pretty fast. Like he's pretty fast for how fat he is. Like dude, he's like yeah, he's like a surprisingly good athlete. You're like, oh boy.
The couple of times I've seen where he got a triple, I instantly looked at the outfield that he did it against. I think one happened last year, and it was a clean triple. And I looked at that outfield and was like, you guys are terrible. Every single one of you should get fired while you're on the field.
Bro, I'm telling you,
it takes him so long to get from home to third, running through first and second, that you have time to go get a hot dog and get back to your seat before he gets there. If you can't get him out in that time, and it's not because of an error,
that thing must have took a funny bounce.
Throw the whole outfield away at that point. Like, not just the players, the actual grass, the walls, the stadium in general. Just throw it all away, because you've done something horrible at some point.
Come to find out, Alejandro Kirk's got like 6 triples in his career. You're like, all right, well, throw all of those out then, I guess.
All right, Craig, take us to school. I your experience, your wisdom. Who do you have?
Well, after I come to bury him with one trash can, believe it or not, I'm going to resurrect our good friends, the Houston Astros, because why not? I mean, the plus that I see for the Astros is that they're only at 1.5 games out right now of the wild card, and that's the only plus I see for them. They've got plenty of time to either screw it up or to come through and make a true run at it. I spent more time thinking about who I'm burying and their funeral than I was pretty much who had a rising shot at the playoffs. So we could bow our heads and reflect on the passing of the Washington Nationals. They're barely above 5. They're barely above 500. We've already touched on their public relations and their humanity award pitcher. They have absolutely no cushion whatsoever to ride out a slump.
Yeah.
Which I predict they will have a slump, a glorious slump that will ruin many bonus opportunities for contracts for this team. They've overperformed, and the telling thing for me is that they're a +9 they're at 400. They have 400 runs versus they've allowed 451 runs. They're a bettor's nightmare right now. Teams to compare them to as I bring out the shovel and start digging for their grave. Let's take our good friends the Dodgers. They're a plus 144. The Brewers are a 123. Dan's Yankees are plus 91. The Braves are a plus 92. Returning back to the corpse of the Washington Nationals at a plus 9. I mean, they're ripe. They're ripe for passing away before the season's over by a long shot. I mean, by a great margin, they're going to be out of it by a long. I'm talking double digits. They'll be out, and because of the pitcher that they've got on their team, I say good riddance to them. Karma will pay them a visit. And then all I can say, only thing I'm gonna care for Washington Nationals is for next year when that pitcher gets that ball in the ear hole. And that's my thoughts on who will rise and who's being buried.
I have to argue against the Astros, and this is not as a hate.
Thank you. I'm glad you are, because I hate saying it.
No, I get it, especially with that division. Because when you look at that division, the Rangers, the Mariners, and the Astros, there's not a huge distance between them. The A's are really starting to kind of fall back as we expected they would.
Yeah.
But the Rangers are staying somewhat consistent. The Mariners seem to find their way into the playoffs somehow, on a regular basis. And there seems to be more intention out of the Mariners at this point than out of what we've seen. Like there are more trade rumors for some of their bigger names like Altuve and some of the other players this year than I've seen in a long time. And those trade rumors, like we all know, a lot of those trade rumors come up from players that are doing well on a team that is not. And the Astros as a whole, just there's a spark that you normally see on that bench that's not there this year. Like I've watched a handful of Astros games this year, and the energy, the impact, it's just not there for them this year. And we all know numbers can tell you a lot, but eye test matters. I don't think the Astros are a bad team per se, but when I watch the Astros, I don't see a team that is going to, when the fire heats up after the All-Star break and they start looking towards the deadline, I don't see a team that's going to put foot to butt. Like I don't see it. And I more believe that division will go to the Rangers, who are a much better team this year than they were last year, or the Mariners, who are succeeding despite the fact that Cal Raleigh definitely looks like last year was a fluke. And the
Astros are missing Cal Tucker too.
Do what?
The Astros are missing Cal Tucker.
They are. And like you said earlier, Carlos Correa not performing this year. And when you pull in a guy like that, Jeremy Pena is doing okay. But when you have Correa there and you're paying
They
him
play
a lot
Correa
of
at third base. They play Correa at third base then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Pena is still playing short. They're not going to pull the young guy that's hot
Right.
for the younger guy. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Plus-
Correa's playing.
Plus, Correa's probably getting pretty close to not being able to play shortstop anymore, I imagine.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he and Altuve are going back and forth on DH more next year. That's honestly kind of where I see that roster going if they're both there. Is you'll see one of them in the out or one of them in the infield, one of them is a DH, and they'll kind of just go back and forth so that they can rest those old knees. I
feel so much better. I hate picking the stupid trash cans. I really do.
I get it, because honestly, like I looked really hard at them yesterday, and when I was doing my research, and it was just those things that I talked about where I was just like, I see more potential out of Boston just because, and maybe it's just because I have the view that I have of the lineup, obviously, but I'm a bit of a homer sometimes, I'll admit it. Nobody's surprised by this. But with the Astros, when I look at it objectively, when I think about removing the Red Sox and looking at what else they would have to do, looking at their schedule, I don't see it. I see the Rangers and the Mariners, or even the A's, recovering, because I don't see what we would normally see from the Astros when they're going to be making that late season push that they do on a regular basis somehow. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't see it. But we'll see. Like, that's honestly, Houston is probably one of the bigger question marks in my opinion as we go to the second half. But it'll be interesting. I know for my Red Sox, how they handle this series against the Orioles that they're going into starting, I believe, tomorrow. It's either Friday, maybe, is really going to dictate whether Boston buys or sells at the deadline. And if Boston is selling, I'm going to have to put my Jarren Duran jersey up, I fear, because I think that's going to be, it's either going to be him or Marcelo Mayer. And honestly, hot prediction, I don't think Marcelo Mayer is a Red Sox player next season.
Duran would look great in Pittsburgh too. Yeah,
honestly, I think if you're going to put Duran on a different team, it's not going to be a tough market. You send Duran to New York, he has a mistake, and the New York fans start to eat him up. You're going to have problems every night. I think Duran would do well in Arizona, Kansas City, Minnesota. He needs a softer market. Not because of talent, but because of the fans and his struggles. Love the guy. Big fan. Proud of him for speaking up about his mental health. But people are going to people. And I just, got to look at that one realistically. I'd love for him to stay Boston, but I don't know. We'll see. Well, we have managed my goal of shortening the show. We have managed my goal so far of not saying any swear words. We've still got probably a minute and a half left, so we'll see what happens, Dan.
Yep.
But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I want to thank Wire to Wire Sports for having us. We have some great things on the horizon for Podcast Name Deferred. I can't wait to share with everybody about what they are when we can. Make sure to give us a follow on Facebook if you haven't already. You can follow me on TikTok at FGD7. I'll put it in the banner below us. And definitely check, support us. And where was I at? Why does everything keep changing? There we go. Make sure to give us a follow on Facebook, like I said. And, of course, make sure to show some love to Wire to Wire Sports, who have been so kind to allow us to be a part of their network. Wire to Wire has great content from a lot of sports content creators who love to share their insight and opinions with you, so please check them out. Don't forget, you can catch this episode on Spotify tomorrow. I will have it uploaded. It'll be up there probably overnight, but we say tomorrow just in case, things happen. I forget. You will see Craig, Dan, and I back next week right here on Podcast Name Deferred. Have a good night, everybody, and have a safe and happy 4th.
What a